Hi guys, this is part 7 to what if Naruto was OP and neglected, and yeah, part 7. So in the last part, I had Naruto and Sasuke leave the village because Naruto was banished and Sasuke wanted to come along with Naruto and not stay in that village, and they would also end up killing Danzo on the way out because Danzo and all the root members on like a little bit far, or like a little bit on the outskirts of the village, would try attacking Naruto and Sasuke, but they would all just die, and Sasuke using a genjutsu would have kind of all of Danzo's memories implanted into him, so he would know the truth about Itachi, what actually happened, and all of that. And yeah, so I explained that in the last part. And so now, I'm gonna do kind of a year time skip, but I'm gonna explain what happened in those years. So, they made their way to a smaller village or town and would try to do jobs in order to make money to buy food, water, and all needs. And so, what's it called? Let me think. So Naruto would find out that his face, the Nine Tails eyes and fangs, would kind of scare people and was bad for business, and would find a ninja or a jutsu to kind of get rid of them. Because before in the Leaf Village, he cared when people called him a demon, but he never wanted to get rid of his eyes or anything like that. But now that he's out of the village, he kind of needs to because he doesn't want to scare his clients or anything of the sort. So now his eyes kind of revert back to his normal, just pure blue that's in the anime, and then his teeth go back to normal, but he still has those whisker things like from the anime, those little 3 lines which are considered whiskers. So yeah, he still has those, and they would make a name for themselves. They're mainly called the Demon Brothers because they'll they'll kill, but they'll only kill bad guys. Like they're not feared. They got that name out of respect, and most villages and towns just respect Naruto, except mainly the Leaf Village. They don't. They still don't like Naruto, even if he's on so much respect and so much stronger or anything. So yeah, and most villages welcome them because they always ask villages if they need any help, and they'll do it for money. And if they really need it but don't have no money, most times they'll still do it. And eventually, they make their way to within a year to the land of demons, where the priest Shion, which I already said was going to be his wife or his girlfriend at one point, and it's going to be his only. I don't want to do like multiple. I don't know, when people do what ifs and Naruto has harems, I honestly don't really like it. I rather just have Naruto have one. That's it. And yeah, so would make his way there. And since in the Shippuden movie, the ghost, the evil spirit, I forgot what his name was, but he was the reason why Shion's mom died. So I'm saying this timeline, none of that happened, because again, that was technically filler, which technically isn't canon. And so I'm saying this timeline, that never really happened. Shion's mom is still alive, along with Shion. They're priests still, just in case, or I'm gonna say the evil spirit still exists, but nothing actually happened. Like it didn't get released like how it did in the Shippuden movie. So yeah, he would make their way there, and what's called would make their way to the priest's like tower or like house, kind of, because I'm pretty sure those are like the not the rulers, but the higher arcs, and would ask them if they need any assistance, or ask the mom if they need any assistance, which she would respond with, or she would blah, 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 sorry, and she would kind of ask, "Who are you?" And Naruto would say, "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and this is Sasuke Uchiha." And she would instantly recognize those names. So, oh, you guys are the Demon Brothers, am I correct? And Naruto would say, "Yes, we are." And Naruto doesn't mind the name Demon Brothers because he knows people call them that out of respect and for, just a name, and knows they don't really think of them as demon and more respects them than fears them. And yeah, Naruto would just be fine with that name. As long as nobody really calls him like, you're just a demon brat, then he gets mad. And Shion would just come into the room, sit, and like in the middle, would just go, "Oh, mother," and just like be cut off her sentence because she would see Naruto. And at this point, Naruto, remember, he no longer has the fangs, whiskers, and he doesn't have his tail activated at all. So he kind of just looks really tall, more buff, but lean, and just overall looks really like handsome, I guess, for his age. And Shion and him are right around the same age. And remember, in the Shippuden movie, she already asked for a baby after like experiencing Naruto for a bit, and you know. So yeah, I'm saying like Naruto also just like saw her and like low key, like his jaw kind of dropped and like thought of her as like surprisingly really cute and would kind of in the beginning flirt with her and she would kind of flirt back. And but after a little bit of that, Naruto would discuss if they need any help, and at the time they would say, "No, we don't really need any help." And she would and the priestess mom would, or Shion's mom would say, "How long do you guys want to stay here for, so we can have a room ready for you guys?" And Naruto said, "Oh, maybe a week or two, just to take a break for a bit." And they would agree to this and would set up a room. And for this 1 or 2 weeks, Shion and Naruto would get to know each other pretty well, and Sasuke would see this and kind of like tease Naruto about it. And it was called eventually, like a few days before Naruto would leave, Shion would like tell Naruto that she really really likes him, like to like date him and someday marry him. And Naruto's surprised that she downright said that she wanted to marry him at one point. So Naruto agrees, but tells her that we had to go away for a little while, mainly because we have goals that me and Sasuke both want to complete. And Shion agrees to this, but also asks, "What are these goals?" And Naruto says, "Well, his is to take his brother back, and I've just come up with a few other ones." And what's called? Shion would ask, "Can I know your goals?" And Naruto says, "Well, one is to help this land become one of the great 5 ninja villages. 2, I want to help fellow jinchurikis and people that are in need that have either been banished or rogue, that are good or have a pure heart and all that." And Shion asks, "Well, what's your third one?" And Naruto with a smile would just really smoothly say, "And to one day marry you." And Shion would just blush to this. And a few days would go by, and they would also discuss this with Shion's mother, and Shion's mother's totally fine with it because she can see Naruto is a really great ninja and has no bad intentions. And she would also say, "If you don't mind me asking, what village were you guys originally from? What village are you guys originally from? And what's it called? Who are you guys' parents, if you don't mind me asking?" And Naruto says, "Well, it's a little complicated, as we're both from the Hidden Leaf Village, and my parents or my mom and dad, or my dad was the fourth Hokage, or he would say my quote unquote dad is the fourth Hokage, and my quote unquote mom was the previous jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails Fox." And they would hear this and say, "What do you mean?" And Naruto says, "Well, I say previous because now it's me and my twin brother. I only have 15%, but I also have the whole entire Nine-Tails spirit, so he usually talks to me. If not, and I also gain some of his features, but I just hide them with a ninjutsu. This is," and would point to his face and say, "This is my natural state. This is what I would look like without any of the Nine-Tails influence. How I normally look, I'll show you guys right now." And would look down, look back up, and his eyes would just glow red, fangs would grow out, and yeah. and they'll see this, they wouldn't really be scared because they trust Naruto, and Naruto would see this and be very happy that they're not scared of him at all. And so, yeah, and she would also ask, "Why did you say quote unquote dad and quote unquote mom?" And Naruto would say, "Well, they were never really there for me. They praised my older brother, whose name is Menma, and abused and neglected me as a child." And they'll just feel sorry for Naruto and tell him, "Well, I'm sorry we brought this up." And Naruto said, "No, no, no, it's fine. I've come to not really care about that or anything of the sort." And so, yeah, Naruto just kind of played off, and then they would also point to Sasuke and say, "What about you?" And Sasuke will say, "Well, I'm one of the two remaining Uchiha," because he doesn't know about Obito or Tobi, or doesn't know about him yet, and only knows about him and Itachi. And would say, "Oh, so you're Uchiha?" And or no, yeah, Sasuke would say, "Yes, I'm one of the two last remaining Uchihas." And Naruto over here is one of. Hold up. So there's Naruto, Kirin, her grandma at the time, or not his grandma, Kirin's grandma, his mom, and I'm one. Bleh. So there's 5 Uzumakis in total, or actually, I'm safe for now. Naruto doesn't know who Kirin or her grandmother is because that's gonna be played more later on. And so Naruto would say, "I'm one of the 3 last remaining Uzumakis, or of I know right now," and would kind of like butt into Sasuke's, explanation. And Sasuke would say that my mother and father and my whole entire clan was slaughtered by my brother, and they would hear this and just be like, and Sasuke would say, "Yes, but he's not evil. He did it for a reason, and a reason I highly respect him for, and I would still like to bring him back. It wasn't his fault at all, and he was kind of forced to." And they would hear this and go, "Okay." And then Naruto would also bring up about how he wants to help out this land and help it become one of the great ninja villages. And they would ask, "How are you going to do this?" And Naruto would say, "Well, first, I have some troops or strong ninjas back at the village that are loyal to me that I can bring back. I can also find a few other ones who will eventually be Itachi Uchiha, me, and Sasuke. And on top of that, I want to make a what's it called? Alliance with the Snow Village." And Naruto would tell them that, and they would say, "How will the Snow Village help? Aren't they just kind of a small village?" And Naruto would say, "Yes, they may be small, but we can help them grow as well. And in return, they can give us some of their technology, as the Snow Ninja and the Snow Village is really good and great with technology." And they'd hear this and say, "Okay." And yeah, so then Naruto would say, "Well, we're gonna be on our way tomorrow in the morning, so it's probably gonna be our last day of the real me seeing you. I might send shadow clones time to time that might arrive here with different people." And Naruto would tell them this, and they would agree. So the next day, Naruto wakes up and says goodbye to Shion and all of them, and leaves. He sends a shadow clone to the Snow Village, and sends one to the Hidden Leaf because he wants to go get Zabuza and Haku for now. And I'm planning on probably bringing Kakashi, because Kakashi can see what happened to Naruto and how this village is unfair. No matter how he says it, he loves it, but he just can't deal with it anymore. And so I think Kakashi might eventually go with Naruto to his village, and so will Sakura soon. Not right away with Zabuza and Haku, but soon. So first, I'm gonna explain what happens at the Leaf Village. So Naruto enters the Leaf Village and realizes that he might want to disguise himself. So he does that and finds Zabuza and Haku, and they'll just kind of be walking, and Naruto will go, "Psst, Zabuza, Haku," and both of them will look back to see somebody that, or just some random guy, but then he would kind of drag them both into an alleyway, and Naruto would um, kind of just like revert back to just plain old Naruto, and they would both kind of say Naruto, and Naruto would just go, "Shh, don't say my name too loud," and they would say, "Is it really you?" Naruto says, "Yes, well, kind of. I'm just a clone right now, but the real me is trying to complete a few goals right now, and who would like your help." And Zabuza would say, "Well, we can help you no matter what. We're loyal to you and only you." And Naruto would say, "Okay, would you like to come back to a village or to the land of demons with me and Sasuke? That's where we're going to be staying, but for now, we're going to be gone for around a year, and we're going to come back." And Zabuza and Haku would both agree to go back with them. And before they go, Naruto would transform back, and he'd say, "Well, first, I want to visit Ichiraku Ramen." And even though Naruto's a clone, he's still Naruto, and would want to go get some ramen before he goes. And while he's there, he accidentally kind of, or I'm gonna say that Sakura kind of senses him a bit and feels a strong presence, and eventually tracks him down to Ichiraku Ramen's a ramen place. And you would just see Zabuza, Haku, and some random guy, and would ask, "Is Naruto here?" And Zabuza, Haku at first would say, "No, nobody's here except for this guy and me, and us two." And Sakura would be kind of suspicious of this and go up to the guy and say, "Who are you? I've never seen you in this village." And of course, it's Naruto, and he would come up with some random name and say, "I'm just visiting a distant family member here. I've gained permission and all that." And so then Sakura would kind of back off, but then the way he eats is like the exact same as Naruto, like just gulping everything down. And then that's when Sakura kind of gets into her, like, like puts her fist on and says, "Naruto, I know it's you." And Naruto kind of gets scared because, again, even though Naruto's just powerful and can absolutely wreck Sasuke and Sakura, he just doesn't care about having to defend himself, and kind of turns into like the normal Naruto around them. But around other people, he's very, just like, just puts up his defense. But when he's around Sasuke, Sakura, Haku, and Zabuza, he's not really as cautious. And so then Naruto would say, "Fine, fine, it's me," and transform out. And Sakura would like have a smile and then ask, "Naruto, how are you? I haven't seen you in a long time." And then they would kind of discuss, and Sakura would go, "Oh, also, where's Sasuke? I see that he's not with you." And Naruto said, "Oh, he's with the real me. I'm just a shadow clone right now." And Sakura would go, "Oh, okay." And we'd also discuss, like, "Sakura, within a year, me and Sasuke are gonna settle down at the land of demons, and we decided to help out that and make it into a great village." And Sakura would listen to this, and Naruto would kind of discuss her plan and said, "Well, within the year, would you like to come back with us?" And Sakura thinks about it and says, "Within the year, I'll go back. Just come tell me whenever you guys have succeeded and all that." And yeah, Sakura would ask, "What are your goals right now?" And Naruto would say, "Well, the real me should be heading to the old Uzumaki village, because we want to see if there's any survivors there, because we know the Uzumakis are known for their stealing jutsus, which can be helpful. And another clone of me is heading towards the snow village right now." And Sakura would go, "Oh, okay." and they'll kind of just wrap up the discussion because he can feel a few Ambu like closing in on him and would say, well, I have to go now. I can sense a few Ambu members heading this way at rapid speed. And Sakura would say, okay, goodbye. Tell Sasuke I miss him. And I said hi. And he'll just teleport back to the land of demons, drop up Zabuza and Haku, and would tell Shion and her mother who this is and how they're good. They used to be feared, but trust me, they're trustworthy, and would agree to let them stay in the village and would have a little kind of house for them for now until they find a place, like a for sure house place kind of. And yeah, then the clone going to the snow village would end up going to the kind of Kage that's there, and would at first be kind of on guard and would ask, who are you and why are you here? Because again, Naruto has a mask on, they can't really recognize him even though he's been there, but they do see the white hair. Not the white hair, sorry, the what is it called, the yellow hair. And at first, and then it just says Naruto, and Naruto take off his mask and says, you guessed right. And they'll kind of discuss and say, Naruto, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. And would say, thank you for all your help too. And Naruto says, oh yeah, you're welcome about all that, but I have a new village, or a new upcoming village, or a new place that I'm living in that I would like to make a village, and I was wondering if we can get your support by creating an allowance. Even though Naruto's a great friend of them, they still want some benefits to them. And Naruto will say, well, first of all, you would have really good support and troops if any village were to attack you. And the Kage would ask, so who? And Naruto would say, well, first off, you have me, you have Sasuke. And hearing this, automatically the Kage just wants to say yes, because he knows how strong Naruto is. He's seen him, even using a little bit of his power, knows can defeat a lot of people he knows about. But doesn't really say anything at first. And then Naruto would say, and then on top of that, you would have Zabuza and subordinate Haku. You would also eventually probably get Itachi Uchiha, that's still a maybe. And you'd also get Sakura Haruno, which is one of our old teammates who is extremely strong just like us and can be trained to be even stronger. And I can have clones training your ninjas to provide or to make them a lot stronger as well. And he just agrees with it. He agrees right away. And would ask, what do you want to support? And Naruto would say, well, first of all, we would like just a little bit of money to help buy and start a trading system. And on top of that, we would like some of your guys' technology to make our village a lot more, futuristic, I guess. And they would agree. And Naruto says, and on top of that, we can provide some knowledge about different villages and stuff like that. And Naruto and the Kage would just instantly just go yes. And so now they got the Snow Village on their side. And oh yeah, I forgot to say, there's also another clone going to or a whole bunch of different clones. Total of 8 clones going to every jinchuriki. He goes to every single one. He already has an affiliation with what's his name? With the Sun Village with Gara. And we'll tell Gara that there's a little bit, or that okay, so Naruto has a spice system. I'm not sure if I already said this, but just like Jiraiya, he would have a spice system and would find out that there's a group called the Akatsuki, which he knows Itachi's in now, and would tell him that there's a group called the Akatsuki that are going after all the Jinchurikis in or all jinchurikis within a year, or like in a year. And Gaara would hear this and say, okay, and what are you going to do about all this? And Naruto says, well, first, I want to train every single Jinchuriki to be stronger than the Akatsuki members, just so you guys can protect yourselves. And they would agree. And Naruto says, but first, I had to get your little friend down here on board too, and point to Gaara's stomach, where the seal is, and would enter Gaara's mindscape along with Gaara and tell Shikaku the plan, and Shikaku would just downright say no. And that's when Naruto would say, well, if we don't, and if they were to get all of us, or even a slim, like a little bit of chakra from all of us, it would bring up the Ten Tails, and that would just, like, that would make Shikaku's butthole just, like, tighten up. Like, he would just be scared, because they know about the story. All Jinchurikis, or not Jinchurikis, like, not, or tailed beasts know about, what is it called? What the Ten Tails is, and how eventually they might be reunited into this, and they fear it and just don't want to become it. So then Shikaku's on board, and the clone just stays there and trains Gaara. And again, different clones go to every single one of them. At first, all of them are like, "Who are you?" And Naruto would tell them, explain themselves, and would agree to train with them. And all Jinchuriki would create a bond, along with the tailed beast, would create a bond with Naruto, and would explain what you had to do. They would find out each other's names and all that. And so Naruto would just, like, be training them within, or for the whole entire year, on controlling the tailed beast, becoming a perfect Jinchuriki, ninjutsu, chakra control, and all that. But the only person that he doesn't really need to help that much is Killer B, because he's already pretty strong or pretty powerful. But he does still help him out in a few things that he was lacking. And now we're cutting back to the main Naruto and Sasuke, and they eventually make their way to the Uzumaki village, because he wanted to see if there's any remaining Uzumakis left, and would like to bring them back, because again, they're good at sealing, which can be helpful and all that. And would make their way in, but Naruto would just keep on walking, or Naruto and Sasuke would just start walking, and all of a sudden Sasuke would just be stopped and says, "Naruto, Naruto," and Naruto would just keep on moving, but then say, "Huh?" and look back and see that Sasuke just, like, stuck. Like, he can't move forward. He can only move backwards, side to side. And Naruto say, "What's going on?" And then Sasuke says, "There's some sort of barrier that I can't get past." And Naruto says, it's probably some sort of Uzumaki barrier to make sure that no non-Uzumaki make their way into the village." And Sasuke would go, "Okay," and would tell Sasuke, "Okay, Sasuke, you wait here, alright? And I'll be back soon. I'm just going to do a quick sweep, and I also want to see if there's any libraries about the Uzumaki anywhere around here." And Sasuke would agree to this, and we'll kind of just, like, sit down and just wait. When he gets in, automatically there's just some redheaded girl, and of course that's Kirin. And at first she'd be really on guard and say, "Who are you? Why are you here? And how did you get in here?" Because again, Naruto doesn't have red hair, so he doesn't look like an Uzumaki. And Kirin would say, or Naruto would say, "Calm down. I'm a Uzumaki. I'm not here on any bad intentions." And Kirin would say, "But you have yellow hair. How are you an Uzumaki?" And Naruto says, "I'm only half. I'm half Uzumaki, and I get my yellow golden hair from my father, or my quote unquote father, you know." And Kirin would accept this, and Naruto would ask, "Are there any other Uzumakis living here?" And Naruto and Karen said, "There's only one other one, who is my grandmother, and she's really sick right now. She's on the brink of death." And Naruto says, "Can I see her? I can possibly help her out." And when he gets there, Naruto would then, because he has a backpack with him that carries a lot of medical things just in case, and he has knowledge of like all illnesses and how to make them better. And would give her medicine and tell her that, well, you have to take this for around a week and you should get better, and it should restore your life force and everything back to normal. Giving you a few more years, and because I'm pretty sure she's old. And uh Kirin would like kind of cry and tell Naruto thank you, and Naruto says don't worry about it, and would also ask, would you guys like to come back to my village? It's a welcoming place. You can just stay there as long as you want, and it's somewhere that you can be out of danger, and you have fresh water, food, and everything. And at first they're like, but we still have to protect the Uzumaki, or the Uzumaki village, because the barrier might break someday and we might have to like replenish it or something, because there's a few secrets in here that we don't want any non-Uzumakis to find out. And Naruto would say, well, I can make a barrier 10 times greater than this, that I can only allow Uzumakis with pure of heart and no bad intentions, that would only have good intentions for this, or to be entered. And they hear this and says, well, I accept, I like, sure, if you do this, we'll go back. And then Naruto would create a shadow clone and ask, is there any library at all anywhere near here? Because I would still like to research about the Uzumaki, and if there's anything that I need to know, or anything along the lines. And Ken would trust Naruto and say, well, it's that way, and would point to, like, kind of behind her, or, no, kind of to, like, the, in front of her, but a little bit more to the right, and would point to, like, a big a big white building, and would make her way, and Naruto would tell her that the Shadow Clone will send you to and Naruto would say, I made a Shadow Clone. It'll send you, or it'll show you the way to my partner, Sasuke Uchiha. And Kiden would follow the clone to Sasuke, and they'd kind of have a small conversation, and Sasuke would tell her who they are, and like a little bit of the backstory, why they're here, all that. And Naruto would get inside the library and look around and realize most of the books are just kind of torn, but a few of them still work. But then he would kind of walk forward and walk over a rug, and would just kind of like say, kind of stomp on it and say, it feels really hollow down here, and would move the rug, and and it would reveal like a little like kind of basement door, and he would have to lift it up, and he just starts walking down. When he gets there, there's a little coffin with a seal on it, and next to it has some hand signs. And so Naruto decides to do these hand signs real quick, and touch the seal would break it, and the box or the coffin would start shaking, and next thing you know, some guy kind of like old man pops out, and we go, huh? Where am I? Who are you? How'd you get in here? Or how'd you get in here? Only Uzumakis are allowed. And Naruto say, I am an Uzumaki. And what's called, the guy can sense this and says, oh, I see. And can also sense Naruto's like power and like just how strong it is, and would kind of just like be like, whoa, this is stronger than anybody I've ever even heard of. And Naruto would say, are you okay? Hello? Because the guy would kind of think this in his head and space off and say, oh, sorry. And he would introduce himself and say, and who are you? And Naruto says, well, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. And he would ask, why are you here? And Naruto would say, well, I'm here just to do some research on the Uzumaki and what happened to them and all that. And the guy would say, "Oh, I see," and in his like kind of mumble, "I think he's worthy of the dojutsu." And Naruto says, "The what?" And like, cause they'll talk for like a few minutes, and Naruto would then ask the what, and the guy would explain there's a certain dojutsu that was made by the Uzumaki, and Naruto says, "Made? How so?" And uh, the guy would say, "It's hard to explain, but I'm gonna transfer all my memories, including the dojutsu, the full on dojutsu, which is called the Uzumaki Eye, or the Uzumaki Wide Eye, and or just the Uzumaki Eye. Either way, yeah." So then he would kind of place his head on Naruto, or his hand on Naruto, and immediately Naruto's eyes would just kind of roll back, and Naruto would just feel a bunch of knowledge and things going into his head, and would just pass out. Because even though how strong he is, his brain just cannot handle so much memories and so much knowledge. And the guy would go back into his coffin and seal it back up and would remain dead. And he can't really be unsealed anymore because he's already found somebody worthy of the dojutsu. And yeah, so then Naruto, or then Kirin and Sasuke would both be kind of worried. And again, there's still a clone with them, so the clone would remain with the the grandma, and Kirin and Sasuke would make their way to the um to the actually never mind. I forgot Sasuke can't enter it. Sasuke would stay back with the grandmother, and the clone, along with Kirin, would make their way to you know the the library, and would find Naruto like an open door like basement, and would go, "What is this?" Because even Kirin doesn't know what this is, and would go down, and would start carrying Naruto, and would make their way out of the barrier, and then Naruto would be laying down on the ground, and Sasuke would feel his pulse and realize he's still alive, and all his nature, or like all his life force and everything, is still the exact same. If not, they're like more powerful because the guy transferred all his chakra, all his knowledge, life force, dojutsu, all into Naruto, which is why Naruto passed out. And so Naruto would wake up, and his eyes would be closed at first, and Sasuke would go, "Naruto, Naruto, are you okay?" Or "Naruto, Naruto, are you okay?" And that's when Naruto would open up his eyes, and all you would see is just pure glowing white with a small blue circle or blue dot in the middle of the eye. And it would look low key kind of like creepy, but just angel, like an angel eye if they had one. And Sasuke would look at this and say, Naruto! And Naruto would go, "Huh? Where am I?" And look around and go, "What happened?" And the grandmother would see his eye and go, You have the Uzumaki eye." And Naruto would go, "I have the what?" And then, like, as soon as he hears the Uzumaki eye, like all the knowledge just like starts really deep, like sinking in, and he just gets all the memories. And goes, "Oh, I remember now." And the grandmother and Kirin would say, "The what?" Or then Kirin would say, "Wait, the Uzumaki eye?" And because I'm gonna say that Kirin's grandmother would tell Kirin stories about the Uzumaki eye and why it was so powerful. And Sasuke would go, "Can you guys like inform me about this? I'm extremely confused right now." And Naruto would say, "I'll explain. It's a dojutsu made by the Uzumaki. It's the reason why they were attacked, or it's one of the main reasons why they were attacked, why they were seen as so powerful." And Sasuke goes, what can it do? And Naruto says it can do things you can never even imagine. It can copy chakra. It can copy any dojutsu. It can steal any dojutsu, any ninjutsu, any genjutsu, Kekkei. It can steal or copy anything. And Sasuke would hear it and go, what? And Naruto would say it's also, you can see far, like extremely far, and it has no setbacks whatsoever. It's just too extremely powerful. And Sasuke was like, you're joking, right? And Naruto would go up to him, feel Sasuke's eye, or would tell Sasuke, activate your Sharingan, or Shisui's Sharingan. And Sasuke would do this. He would feel Sasuke's eye, and then he would close his eyes, and when he opened them, it'd be exactly Shishi's eyes on both eyes, not just one, on both. And at first Sasuke would go, what, and feel his eye, because he thought that maybe Naruto saw it, but then he would realize he still has Shishi's eye, and Naruto would also implant it into Sasuke's other eye immediately, and Sasuke would just go, what? And then Naruto would show that he can still activate the Sharingan that he has before Shizui's, and his normal eyes now, and also the Nine Tails eyes, and the and just his normal eyes, and the Uzumaki eye. And Naruto would show that he can just scroll through every single one of them as if it was just some sort of ball rolling, and would say that I can also copy anything as long as I can see a picture of it and a description of it. But if not, if I can see it in person, I can copy it immediately. And Sasuke would just be like, and I'd say, can you copy the Uzumaki eye and give it to me at all? And Naruto says, no. If anybody that isn't an Uzumaki gets implanted by this, they'll just go blind and won't be able to take the eyes out. And they won't even be able to use any power at all. And Sasuke would hear this and go, darn. What's called, but yeah, so this is Naruto's Dojutsu, the Uzumaki eye. And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave out this part. And the next part, it's going to be kind of them fighting a few members of the Akatsuki, another year time skip to find Itachi. And I also want Obito to come to the village and be a good guy. And you'll see how all this plans out. And yeah, so I should be able to in the next part, like maybe even the same day I upload this, or maybe the next day or day after, I don't know. Because again, I should have more spare time to record and upload. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, share, do all that. I'm still planning on doing a new series pretty soon. And yeah, either way, all that aside, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.